Hello and welcome to the topic Climate, Chapter 4, Class 9 Geography. Climate is the sum total of weather conditions, including the pressure, the temperature, the wind, the rainfall, precipitation, humidity, all these conditions which are varying, which are differing on a large area for a period of long time, maybe nearly 30 years or even more. Weather refers to the state of atmospheric condition in an area at a point of time, at any point of time. And the elements are same, both are same. The weather and the climate both have the same elements: the temperature, atmospheric pressure, the wind, humidity, precipitation or rainfall. On the basis, generally, the atmospheric condition of an area is classified into different seasons, such as winter, humid or summer, precipitation or rain. The world is divided into number of climatic zones. Right from equator, when we go upwards, the world is classified into different climatic zones. At the equatorial region, either we go to North Pole or to the South Pole, the climate keeps changing. It's hot at the torrid zone, moderate at the temperate zone, and very cold at the frigid zone. And India comes under monsoon type of climate, and we shall study how monsoon is affecting India. It is derived from an Arabic word which means mosam. In summer, the mercury usually touches 50 degrees in some parts of Rajasthan. The desert is very hot, whereas it may be around 20 degrees Celsius in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir on a winter day, winter night. Temperature at the Dras sector, Siachen Glacier, Jammu Kashmir may be minus 45 degrees Celsius. And at Tiruvananthapuram, on the other hand, it may have a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. So, within the same country, we find that there is extreme difference between the day and the night temperature. In the desert, the day temperature is 50 degrees Celsius and it will drop down to 15 degrees on the same night. On the other hand, there is no much difference, hardly any difference in places like Andaman, Nicobar, Kerala, and all. It is almost similar. This huge difference between the day and the night temperature is called as diurnal range of temperature. Diurnal range of temperature. The climate of a place is controlled by many factors, and the climate of the world or India. We shall first discuss about the world, then discuss about India. It is controlled by six major factors: the latitude, the altitude, pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, relief, and many more. Latitude. When we discuss about the latitude, the earth is, let us go to the image of the latitude. Yes, the earth is the imaginary lines, horizontal lines on the earth's surface are called as latitudes. From equator, as we go upwards towards the north pole, the latitudes are increasing but the temperature is decreasing. So, as the latitudes are increasing in number, the temperature is decreasing. Coming to the altitude, altitude is the height of a place. Height of a place, the atmosphere becomes cooler, less dense when compared to the higher higher altitudes. It becomes cool. The pressure and the wind system, we shall see a diagrammatic representation of the altitude and the normal lapse rate in the coming slides. The pressure and the wind system, the winds can be classified into permanent wind, into temperate wind, local winds. So, the permanent wind system is they are moving in a large area for a long period of time. They may cover continents. The next seasonal, or we can say that particular for that temperate zone, we can say for that particular period, that is seasonal winds, they can be called as monsoon type of winds. The third type of winds which are affecting are the local winds. They can be called as cyclones. Also, the climate of a place depends on the distance from the sea. Continentality. The places which are located near the sea have moderating influence. They are cooler in summer and they are warmer in winter, because there is differential heating and cooling of land and water bodies. Water absorbs the heat slowly, it retains for a long period of time, and land absorbs fast and also releases fast. The land which has absorbed the heat in the morning, it releases the heat in the night into the atmosphere. That is called as terrestrial radiation. The pressure and the wind system, they affect the surface winds, atmospheric winds. Also, as we go upper, we have upper air circulation, and also the winds which are coming from the African region, the western cyclonic disturbances, these also affect the climate, especially the climate of our country. The ocean currents, the movement of the currents, we see that the the oceans are moving as a stream. The large body of water which is moving from equator towards the poles is warm current, and the large body of water from poles which is moving towards equator is a cold current. These currents also affect the climate of a place. Distance from the sea, we studied that places which locate near the sea are cool in summer and warm in winter. Relief features the movement of the water from the mountainous regions or originating point that also affect. And the moisture bearing winds which are towards the other side, that is where water body is there, they carry moisture bearing winds, and they come to the mountain, and when the mountain is standing as an obstruction, they rise and fall in the form of rainfall on the other side of the mountain. This side, when the rain is falling, it is called as windward side, and the other side which remains dry without the rain, it is called as leeward side. Such type of rainfall we studied is called as orographic rainfall. In class 7 we studied. So the climatic control factors are the latitude, altitude, pressure and wind system, ocean currents, distance from the sea, relief features. Based on these climatic controls, any place can have different seasons. And the seasons of India can be classified into cold weather season, hot weather season, advancing monsoon, and retreating monsoon. We shall read about it in depth in the coming part of the lesson. Talking about the altitude, as one reaches from the sea level to the highest point, the the decrease in the temperature can be noticed as we go higher and higher to different altitudes, 1000 meters, 2000 meters, 3000 meters. The temperature keeps decreasing. This decrease in the temperature with the increase in the altitude is called as normal lapse rate. So, what do we understand by normal lapse rate? The normal lapse rate is the rate at which the atmospheric pressure or variability or temperature is decreasing. It is falling with the altitude. For every 165 meters rise in the altitude or height of a place, the temperature decreases by 1 degree Celsius. This is called as normal lapse rate. So, rise in the height, fall in the temperature. So, altitude and temperature are inversely proportional. Ocean currents. We studied that along with the onshore, the ocean currents, we saw what are warm currents and also what are cold currents. They also affect the climate of a place. We have studied even relief, the movement of the water bodies, and also moisture bearing winds. They cause rainfall in the rain bearing region, that is, moisture bearing winds on the region where the mountain is standing as an obstruction. The other side of the mountain, that is the leeward side, that is dry because the moisture cannot pass through the mountain, so it rises up and falls in the form of rainfall. Distance from the sea. The distance from the sea creates a moderating influence. The coastal regions are comparatively cooler in summer and warmer in winter, whereas the mainland or the interior land is hot in summer and cool in winter. So, now why are the houses in Rajasthan having thick walls and flat roofs? Since the weather in Rajasthan is very hot, receives very less rainfall, the houses have thick walls and flat roofs. This because thick walls prevent the heat from entering into the houses, while the flat roofs help retain the little water that has been collected. Why is it that the houses in the Terai region and in the Goa, Mangalore have sloping roofs? The houses in these regions have sloping roofs because these regions receive very heavy rainfall, and therefore for the water to move faster, they have sloping roofs. It helps them to get rid of the collected water, stops from stagnation. This allows the flow faster into the ground. Why are the houses in Assam built on the stilts? In Assam, the local peoples, they build with this characteristic houses because these areas of river Brahmaputra, they are most prone to the flood, and these flooding regions, especially during the rainy season, they are to save themselves, they are built in these regions. Now we see once again through this diagrammatic representation the latitude, altitude, and the distance from the sea which are affecting. The Tropic of Cancer 23 degrees, 23 and a half degrees divide the country into two halves, two equal halves almost. It divides India into tropical and subtropical region. It runs from Run of Kutch from the west to Mizoram in the east, dividing two climatic zones of India, tropical and subtropical. We studied how the pressure and wind system affects the India's climate. Now let us study about the Coriolis effect and the jet streams. Before going to the jet streams, let us study about the Coriolis effect. The apparent force generated by the Earth's rotation. The Earth's rotation is around 1610 kilometers per hour. It rotates at a very great speed, and this speed makes the force. By this force, the winds which are there in the northern hemisphere, they are bending towards the right, and the winds which are there in the southern hemisphere, they are bending towards the left. That bending is called as tilting. So this tilt is created due to the force generated by the earth's movement. This is called as Coriolis effect or the Ferril's law. Also we have movement of very fast blowing winds at this latitudinal zone 20 to 30 degrees, and they are called as bands of winds which are moving like jet, very fast jet streams. They blow at the speed of approximately 184 kilometers per hour in winter. In summer it is 110 approximately. This also creates an upper air circulation. This upper air circulation moves like an air current, upward downward movement, and this upward downward movement has also resulted for the movement of the jet streams. These all factors affect the climatic conditions of India in bringing the monsoon, the most rain bearing winds. And from the Mediterranean Sea, the moisture bearing winds, they come pick up the moisture from that high pressure winds, move into the mainland of India, and during October they provide the most needed rainfall. The western cyclonic disturbances, they are also moving to the low pressure regions that is originated, and under the influence of the subtropical westerly jet streams, these wind systems, they are reaching to India and they cause the rainfall. The westerlies, we can see the movement towards the west, arrows pointing towards the west. This image shows a clear cut movement of the earth, the rotation of the earth west to east at the speed of 1610 kilometers per hour. Due to this, the winds in the northern hemisphere, they are deflected or bent towards the right, and in the southern hemisphere the winds are deflected or bent towards the left. This effect is called as Coriolis effect or the Ferril's law. This image makes it much clear about the Ferril's law. The movement of the winds towards the right in the northern and towards the left in the southern hemisphere. Other important factor which is creating the arrival of monsoon to India is the El Nino Southern Oscillation. The pressure and the wind system is also affecting the arrival of monsoon. The pressure at Tahiti in the Pacific Ocean is taken as a point, and the pressure at Darwin in the Pacific Ocean East is taken as a point. The pressure difference between these 2 points is taken and measured. When the difference is in negative, it is a late monsoon, and when the difference is in positive, it is an early monsoon. So, this pressure movement moves like a pendulum which is shifting from high pressure to low pressure and low pressure to high pressure. The El Nino Southern Oscillation, we call it as El Nino. Nino is a Spanish word which means arrival of a child. This signifies with the arrival of Jesus Christ. It is during the month of December. So, from that time, when it is winter in the northern hemisphere, it is summer in the southern. When it is summer in the southern, it is winter in the northern hemisphere. So, this oscillation which is happening in the southern hemisphere is marked with the arrival of Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ is the child who brings good news, southern oscillation, and that child is the one who saved people from bad, son of God, who brought the news of goodness, and is the savior, is the Messiah. And these winds are originating with his arrival. These winds bring relief to those people who have been suffering with the heat, helplessness, restlessness. And these showers which are coming in the type of monsoons, they all come towards India in two branches and they split, and that arrival is denoted with the arrival of Jesus Christ. El Nino Southern Oscillation, bringing the monsoon into the Indian subcontinent. This is part 1 of the climate chapter. She is Kavya, P. Kavya of class 9, my student, who has made this PowerPoint. Together, we are trying to give this concept to you all to simplify. I try my level best to make the concept easy. So please learn. Feel free to make your queries. Thank you so much. God bless you all. I'll come up with part 2 very soon.